Ladies and gentlemen, today is April 22nd, 2018, and this is the KNKL Show, episode 368, where we learn to be better artists. My name is Kienan Lafferty, and I would like to welcome you to another show. Today we're going to be talking about posing multiple characters and all the challenges that encompasses. So journey with me over to Photoshop, and let's talk about finding things on Pinterest, finding poses that you really like, and then you ask yourself the important question: how do I properly steal this pose and put it into one of my own pieces without getting caught? And I'm going to show you how to do that today. And of course, I say stealing, but we're actually going to be learning, borrowing, and translating. Those are the important things that you want to learn. And yeah, we're going to be focusing on a new made of metal piece. This is actually going to be a collaboration between me and a good friend of mine and coworker, Kienan. He's going to be doing the background, and I'm going to be creating the characters. And so what I did was I found this picture on Pinterest. Of course, this is an unknown artist. If anybody knows, please let me know down in the comments. But yeah, the image, I just took it right over to the canvas and I put together this little thumbnail. You can see here I'll have like the made of metal kind of Japanese kanji and katakana over there, and then I'll have the characters here, and then I'll have a beautiful lush scenery that's painted by somebody who's way more professional than myself. Just hit my lamp. But yes, of course. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be picking apart this pose, and I'm going to show you how to translate and best get away with it. Okay, how to properly steal a pose and posing multiple characters, and why this is actually something that's really important to learn how to do right away. And it's something that I didn't do for a long time. So the first thing that I'll ask that you do is find a pose that you really like online and drop it into Photoshop. And then go ahead and go to the opacity, not the brightness, but just go to the opacity and lower it down. And then create a new layer above everything. Grab your color of choice. In this case, I'm using a blue. And then begin picking out a few select things. And I want you to ask yourself this: where is the gesture line that is going through this? Break it down into its simplest form. Where are the gestures that are going through it? Oftentimes, you can find these going through the spine of the character. And then ask yourself, what about this gesture do I like? Well, personally, I liked this character on the right, because first of all, she had very similar hair to Mika. I think I just saw Mika in her. But more importantly, I liked it because look at all these elements that are leading us to the left. As though there was this girl even has like a unicorn horn that's pointing us to the left. There's a lot of elements in these poses that are leading us to what I'm going to want on the left side, which is going to be this amazing background that's going to be painted by Kienan, right? This really cool environment. I want this piece to have a sense of flow, and these characters' poses are doing that perfectly. So that was one of the biggest reasons why I liked it. Now the next thing, once you get down the gesture, now I want you to go in there and start playing around with actually constructing their bodies. Try to construct the body within there. Ask yourself, where is this arm actually going? Right? And as you do it, you might find yourself running into some issues. You're like, oh, maybe could an arm even bend like that? I don't know, maybe it could. But yeah, just go ahead and draw in basically the anatomy of the character in simple form, right? I've taught you guys before about kind of laying things in with shapes, thinking about volume. Don't draw in the stick man. Don't draw in sticks like this. Think about volume. Think about clay, okay? So go ahead and draw in the legs there. You can even draw behind the character. Where do you think that other foot would have stopped? And just start to draw that stuff in. Another thing that really helps is drawing ellipses. Hey, look, we actually have one handily drawn for us. Look at the strap that goes around this girl's leg. Therefore, we can infer that this camera angle is low, right? Our eyes are down here. The horizon line is here, and therefore our eyes are here, and we're looking up. I should draw the pupils actually looking up. So our eyes are looking up at the character, and that's going to cause the perspective to look like this. This is a common camera angle that we like to use when we want characters to feel powerful. We want them to feel awesome. However, this is going to present us with both a curse and a blessing, because in the piece that we're creating, I don't want the characters to be the most dominant thing in the image. I want the background to feel more like the dominant part of the piece. And because of that, we are going to raise the camera. We're going to raise our eyeballs up. So we're going to be more on point with the characters. Our eyeballs are probably going to be about up here, with maybe on the same line as Mika's. And I'll show you how we're going to do that in just a moment. Okay, so we've got our eyes. We're raising the horizon line, aka our sight line up to here. Okay, and if that confuses you, don't worry, I'll help you out. But right now what we're doing is we're laying out the anatomy. That way we kind of know what we're going for. I'm going to kind of draw the hand back here, and then we've got the face right there. Don't worry about sketching in the hair. Again, just keep it very simple. Very, very simple. Okay, let's go ahead and draw this in. Loving that, loving that. And it's actually really fun to do this, guys. It's really fun to pick apart the anatomy of masterful artists such as this one. And then you can learn so much from them. And that's going to come in really handy for when you want to then take it over to your own piece, which we're going to do in about 2 seconds. I really love this perspective of how this foot like comes toward us. It's really awesome. Okay, cool. And there are some things, there are a few other things. Watch how I put this ellipse in here, right? I'm like, where is the angle of this chest going, of this torso? And oftentimes laying in, think of it as though you're like wrapping bandages around this character. How would they bend around the anatomy? That's oftentimes how I think about it. Like for this leg, if I was to wrap a bandage around that leg, would the ellipse look like, would it look like this? See how if you make it too shallow, it feels weird? No, it needs to be more rounded. It needs to round, show the volume of that leg. Okay, and then as you do that, you'll end up with something like this. And then you can go ahead and you can, I'll kind of sketch in the eyeball a little bit just so I kind of know where the eyes go. That might help us as we go forward. And then what I want you to do is just go ahead and get rid of that picture, or get rid of the image that was behind it. And now you'll see, oh, wow, that's the underlying principles that are going to be helpful with creating our own pose and stealing it properly. Okay, but do you remember, take you back a couple minutes when I was talking about raising the horizon line? Because we want this horizon line to be higher, or eyes to be higher, we need to now draw this pose from another angle. We need to think in 3D. And now that we have building blocks such as this, it's going to be a million times easier. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's create a new layer. And let's go ahead and start drawing this, okay? So we know, let's start with the character on the right. Let's start with Mika, or what is going to be Mika. So because we know that the horizon line is going to be right on Mika's eyes, we can say that everything from that horizon line, right? Because from our eye line, everything that we see from that point, we're going to be looking down on. We're looking down on. See, because we've raised our eyes. So before we were looking up at the character, now we're even with Mika's eyes and we're looking down on them. So let's reconstruct this. Let's reconstruct this pose, but now from eye line, or from the eye line. And this is why I like to say, this is why I like to talk about ellipses, is because the ellipses are all going to change. They're all going to change now because we're now viewing the characters from a different angle, okay? And I would recommend, I would highly recommend that you guys stay small with this. Sometimes you might be tempted to work a little bit large. Oftentimes staying small will help a lot. Okay, so let's say that the hand is right there. Let's say that the hip is right there. And now see how before the ellipses of the leg were causing us to look up, right? Now these ellipses are going to be going downwards like this. Okay, see that? And now we might have like a plane that's like right around here. So let's go ahead and kind of sketch that in. That looks good. Looking good. Looking good. Okay, that leg is off-putting. Let's go ahead and fix that. There we go. There we go. Now we're getting that anatomy in there. It's looking pretty good. A simple way that I like to think about drawing torsos, especially like where the legs connect, is oftentimes I will draw just a line as if they were like wearing a one-piece swimsuit. I always draw this line to show where the leg connects into the hip. However, here's the next thing that I want to try to stay away from, is that we want to try to stay away from letting the perspective go back like this. You might be like, oh, well, this is the horizon line, so therefore we need to start drawing lines. Like all of our vanishing points need to go back towards that horizon line. And I don't know if that's exactly what I want to do. In fact, I think this is how, this might be, oh, I know why. The reason is because the vanishing point should not be there. Actually, the vanishing point in this case it's going to be as if Mika was like this tall, right? See how once we make Mika smaller, technically we've moved the vanishing point way further to the left. This is relatively speaking. So see how now the distortion is much less. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. So in general, don't get too crazy with the vanishing point here. So I'm going to keep Mika's feet basically flat on this plane here. In fact, yeah, because of that, I need to make sure that the hips right here, that there's not too much distortion happening. There's a lot to consider when you think about the full piece. And you got to make sure that you're thinking about all of that. Okay, that looks good. I actually want to tilt this head back even more. There we go. There we go. Cool. And then these ellipses, rather than being upturned, they're going to be almost in line with us. See, now if we wrap the bandages around the character, see how they're all very straight. They're all very, very straight. Next, let's move on to Mocha. So Mocha would be sitting here, and rather than her leg going upwards, her leg is probably going to be down like this. Let's draw on her shoulder, and the face here, and see how rough I stay in these stages, guys. This is what I want you guys to get better at. I want you to get better at being okay with allowing your sketches to be very rough in the beginning. In fact, I want this leg to go up a little bit more. And sketch with shapes. Use shapes to your advantage. Let's see, maybe she'll be resting an arm here. This is where you can start to play around with the actual positioning of the character's limbs as well. This will also help you to create a different pose. Now, I imagine for this piece that Mocha is going to have like this bird. She's going to have like a little bird on her arm. So let's make sure that we kind of get that in there like that. And now Mika is looking way too tall, so we need to grab her. Let's kind of shrink her down a bit. There we go. Because if Mocha were to stand up next to Mika, she needs to be quite a bit taller than her. So we might be looking at something more like this. Okay? So see how already we're getting something quite a bit different. We're getting quite a bit different. The next thing that I would say is I actually kind of want to try I want to try this again, but I want to move the camera angle even higher. I want to move this camera angle even higher. And actually, we can do that. We did just do that by moving Mika downwards. Because see how our horizon line is still here? Our eye line is here, looking down, right? Let's draw a cute little happy face. There we go. The larger eye on the right makes it feel kind of crazy. But regardless, let's go ahead and augment this. Let's kind of change this pose up just a tad bit. Let's go ahead and hit our good friend Control J to duplicate our layer. We use that whenever we're going to be making changes. Okay, now we can start changing the ellipses a little bit more. And that is going to allow us to basically bring this leg down. This foot is going to be planted probably right about there. And then the other foot is going to be a little bit higher. So actually, not much is going to change here. But see how now you can start drawing in ellipses like this. See how the ellipses go downwards now. Okay. And then similarly, because we're now looking down on this character, we need to change up Mocha quite a bit. We need to change up Mocha. It's really going to show in Mocha because she's lower. So actually, we're going to see something more like this. We're going to see more of the top of Mocha's head, like this. And then her shoulder will be like this. The leg come down like this. Actually, wait. So the plane is there. Actually, if she's sitting cross-legged, we're probably going to see something more like this. Yeah. And that other leg will go in there like this. This one's kind of raised up a little bit more, I imagine. Maybe this one, this arm can now be kind of placed down, maybe on her knee. And then draw in those ellipses, draw in those bandages. Okay, and look at that. Now we have that same pose or that same kind of feeling, but from a different angle. See how we're changing slightly each time? We've gone down now. Now we're really looking down on the characters. We're looking up, And then this was the original one that we had. Now, this is the best way that I can say that you should be learning from poses, and the best way that you should be, what's the word? Properly pulling off the heist, okay? Because once you do this, now they can't be like, now everybody, all those naysayers are come at you. They're not going to be like, oh, I have proof. Line up the picture. Oh, no. Oh, no, they changed the horizon line. Now I can't make this artist look bad on social media. No. But actually, what you did do is you did steal the pose, but you did it properly. You got down to the structure, you got down to the foundation, and then you changed it up. You changed up the camera angle. So that was basically what I wanted to get into today. But I want to jump in here, and now I want to start adding detail, because think of this as a little bit more of a bonus. Because I actually do like this camera angle a bit. I like this one, and I like the one before it, but I'm not sure exactly which one I like more. I think I actually like this one the most. There's something about this one. There's a nuance with Mocha's leg that I really like, with her kind of resting it on the knee. That feels really good. I think I want to roll forward with that one. So let's do it. And now we can get into the more relaxing part. The bonus content. So if you haven't gotten comfortable, if you're not drawing along with me, I highly recommend you pull up your own pose from Pinterest, start sketching out the anatomy that goes on top of it, and see if you can do something along with me here. Okay? I'm going to move that over. Hang on. Let's see. Actually, I'll just turn that off. I'll turn that off for now. So let's go ahead and get in there and start adding some details. So the first thing that I do whenever I get to this point is I'll go ahead and hit Control J, because now we're about to start adding in some additional details. And let's start with things like, let's figure out, where is the dress going to be? Where's Mika's dress going to be? It's probably going to be along these lines, okay? Mika's dress is going to look something like that. Let's start drawing in major things like the hair. Start considering things like the top of the hair, and we can start to draw in some simple things like measurement lines, making sure that we have Mika's eyes on the right angle here. Right? I don't get too crazy with my faces. I'll usually keep them something simple like this when I'm getting started, because then I'll go in there at the end and I'll really refine it. But for right now, all I'm looking to do is just get the general idea down. Okay, so there we go. Looking good. This arm here, I think I want to change this up a little bit. I either want to have it tilted further out like this. Yeah, I kind of want to have it tilted further out like that. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked it the way it was. This is where the history comes in handy. Maybe I'll tilt it back. Yeah, because she's kind of tilting back to look towards Mocha. So that's what I'll do. I'll have throw in some country pasta in there. Love country pasta. Delicious. Makes any piece more delicious. Okay, so yeah, we'll do something like that. Looks good. Have that arc in the chest there. That looks awesome. Let's go ahead and get these legs looking proper. See, because she's kind of turning this way. Like if the corkscrew is happening, it's going like this. So let's have the hips and the butt kind of facing more towards us like this. And then her legs can come down like that. Maybe a slightly wider stance would be good. Yeah, maybe. I'm not so sure about that. This is where it's really fun, because I think it's always really good that I show you guys this, because I want you guys to see how much iteration and how many different things I go through to get to a point that I find something that I like. And how oftentimes I can make a ton of mistakes. I'll make a ton of mistakes as I'm going. I'm actually going to move this line up. I'm going to move her her butt up just a little bit, just because I want Mika's legs to be a little bit longer. That looks good. It's good like that. Cool. Let's go ahead and flip the canvas as we're working. That always helps us to get some fresh eyes on the subject. And let's go ahead and draw in Mocha here. So I'm going to draw in a little bit of her face. Again, keeping it fairly simple. So she'll have the bangs that come down like that. Looks nice. And she has that big kind of chest piece. Goes out like that. And I imagine her expression here, I want it to look kind of like perplexed, like she's looking at this bird. She's very perplexed by it. So maybe something like this. There we go. Awesome. And right now I'm just kind of playing around with, like, Mocha's armor set is not fully developed yet, so I'll probably be cheating some things as we go, or I'll just kind of like be adding some things as I go. So I'll be like, oh, maybe there's like a pouch like right here. So I'll just kind of draw in like a general idea of what that pouch would look like. You know, and then she has like these leg plates, and then she has like her pants that go up like this. So I'll kind of just draw that in as well. Her eyes are looking a little bit too high. Let's kind of bring them down a tad bit. There we go. There we go. That's looking pretty cool. It's looking pretty cool. I like it. Something about Mika's legs are still bothering me, though. I'm going to go back to that in just a second. I'm going to get Mika looking good by the end of this. Mocha's, however, looking really nice. I'm really digging the way that she's looking. Let's get her boots going on there. I like these boots here as well. And then I imagine, yeah, like all this grass would be kind of like growing throughout here. Cool. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and move this bird up. Let's move the bird up and the hand up as well. Doing this really makes me want to do another like full live drawing. I haven't done that in a long time. The last time I did that was like, I think a couple of years ago with Wayna and the snowboard. That was really fun doing a piece from scratch with you guys. Really liked that. And I do want to do that again sometime. I think that would be quite a bit of fun. Okay, let's really get in there with Mika and fix her legs. So whenever something like this happens, whenever I run into an issue, what I do is I'll just go ahead and erase. I hit Control J to erase, or rather duplicate the layer. So now I can get in there and I can really go crazy. And I don't have to worry about ruining anything. Because worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I can just go back to where it was. I think I know what I'm liking about this. It's something that's over here in this one. Because this hip is like kicked out, the weight, all of the weight is on her right hip. And it feels really nice. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to really kick out Mika's hip like this. That way we get something more like this. And then we'll have the dress kind of follow along with that. I think that'll look really nice. And then Mika's legs are probably just a little bit long. Maybe that's another thing that's bothering me. Is that her legs should only be about... Yeah, her legs are really long. That's the problem. So let's sketch in one like this. And that leg should be ending like right there. Yeah, that was it. That was it. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we can grab her. Bring her back down to the earth. There we go. There we go. Not bad, not bad. Cool. Awesome. And then another thing that I really like to do is sometimes I'll just like add in little tones to the characters, because this is just kind of like our starting sketches. So sometimes adding a bit of tone can help to kind of show like shadow, or it can help kind of like conceal some things, right? Like details that you don't want to draw just yet, such as like, oh, what's all the detail in Mocha's armor? Well, let's not worry about that right now. Let's just kind of put it in shadow. And now you're thinking of it more of in terms of, it just kind of helps you out with lighting as well. I think it can be a good thing. Let's go and put a little bit of blush on the characters as well. I like that. So we're running into a little bit of an issue here where Mika's hair is kind of like colliding with Mocha, which can be a good thing, but I don't know. Maybe I kind of want it to be up a little bit more. Maybe we can have it blowing in the wind. But it looks weird when it's pointing out like that. I'm not exactly sure how to fix this right now, but I'll do my best to just show you guys how I do it. There we go. That's looking really cute. And then I imagine right here with Mika, she would probably be holding, she's probably holding like an energy drink or a Coke can or something like that. There we go. That looks great. That looks great. I'm actually really happy with how Mika looks there. See, and that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. Cool. So now we're starting to get somewhere. There was one more thing that I wanted to add in. There is another character that was in one of the earlier Made of Metal promo pieces, and that was like this cat creature. It's like this cat snake creature looking thing. I want to draw him in there too. So I haven't really figured out exactly what it looks like, but it's basically like this little cat creature. Looks like this, or it's like a cat rabbit. I don't know. It's a snake, right? It's got multiple limbs. It goes like this. And then it's got this huge tail. Huge tail. Which the characters will actually ride on. Sort of like their mount of sorts. So I have to like develop like this saddle thing. I know basically what a saddle looks like. But we'll kind of draw that in there. We'll kind of have these belts that connect it. This will be a really fun character to draw in. And that's another thing that I can say. Whenever you're drawing multiple characters, always consider how they're interacting with each other. See how Mika's like glance towards this thing? It's like leading you towards this bird that Mocha's holding. And even like her expression, she could have like this expression of like interest, right? If you put the eyebrow higher, it'll be more like, oh, that's interesting, right? But if you put it lower, she might be looking at the bird with disdain, right? Simple, tiny things like that make a huge difference when designing multiple characters. And it's one of the main reasons why I really enjoy drawing multiple characters, is because you can get a lot of story out with you can get a lot of story out very efficiently. Sorry, excuse me, as my throat closes up. I think that's my cue to be finishing up here pretty soon. I do want to add a little bit more detail into the characters' faces, because I'm actually really digging this. I'm digging this thus far. I have been doing a couple other sketches in the meantime, but I wanted to do a real-time sketch for you guys, because I just really feel like it's super important that you guys get my live, like, actual treatment of this, as opposed to just showing the time lapse, showing like, you know, there's a lot of mistakes in there, but it's so easy to gloss them over because you're not showing it real time and you're not showing the real time thought process. So let's finish up Mocha's face. I want to add a little bit more detail into Mocha's and Mika's face. So let's go ahead and up-res them a little bit. Let's make them a little bit bigger and let's get in there. So for this, what I'm doing, whenever I want to add in additional detail to a character's face, always make sure that you have a reference of them right off to the side, so that way you can compare and contrast. And with that, it's always so hard for me to organize all my layers. By this time, if you do have a hard time organizing your layers with all the Control-J that you're doing, right, all the duplications that are happening, know that that is also very, very common, and it is something that we all deal with. So let's get in there and let's go ahead and begin asking ourselves a few questions. So looking at this face, I can already tell that it's slightly off from Mocha's because the eyes are too high. If I were to measure this face out, this is something that comes in really handy when you want to draw the same face over and over again. Very quickly, just draw in a circle. Usually a lot of faces can be created from a circle and a chin shape, right? Like this. Then what you do is divide that circle in half, right? Consider your perspective, consider your ellipse. Kind of divide that circle in half and start to make little measurements. Like, oh, okay, Mocha's eyes are kind of intersecting with this line, this center line on the circle. Therefore, but see, look right here. When I draw in this circle, see when I draw the halfway line through it, actually, I mean, her eyes are still kind of intersecting at that point. But something else is bothering me, and I think this is what it is. The chin shape is too large. See how big this chin shape is, whereas this one over here is a little bit more dainty. It's a little bit smaller. So I think that is contributing to making it not look exactly like Mocha's face. So that is my first word of advice. If you want to draw the same face over and over again, just do some quick measurements. Do some quick measurements, and then from there, you'll be able to go back, and now you can actually know why. Oh, okay, this character is feeling off. Something is not feeling correct about this character. So because we know that the circle is in place, let's just go ahead and mess around with the chin shape. Let's make the chin shape a little bit smaller. So actually, we might see something more like this. So we've shortened down the chin shape. The mouth can go like right here. And then her nose is right about there. Let's make sure we carry through this, carry through the cheek there. Let's go ahead and get in the eyes. I am working pretty low res on this. I think I want to actually make this really high res. Just because we're really getting in there now. And usually I would recommend that you don't, well, in this case, like you want to try to stay away from hitting Control-T, that's transform, and like resing things up and squishing them back and forth, because that's going to lead to distortion, particularly when you make things bigger. However, when you're just sketching, I think it's much more plausible to do that, because you can get away with a little bit of distortion, because at the end of this, I'm planning on lowering the opacity and making a final line pass on this. So it's okay for your original sketch to be a little bit kind of funky looking. It can be kind of pixelated. It can be a little distorted. It's not that big of a deal. So let's make sure that we're getting in the general feeling of these eyes here. There we go. And remember, guys, as I've said, guys and gals, 90% of your character's expression is in the eyes. If you haven't seen that tutorial, I highly recommend you go watch that, because there's a big difference between having the eye look there and the eye look there. Do you see how now it looks like she has like chameleon eyes? But really the difference was just a couple of pixels. There's a huge difference. So be very, very careful when you're sketching in your character's eyes and their expressions. That looks great. That looks great. A little bit of that lip shading that was taught last week on how to create appealing characters. That's how I like to shade my lips. I want Mocha's nose to be a little bit more rounded. I want it to be more rounded like this. Let's go ahead and round it off. There we go. There we go. Cool. Looking pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. I feel like this part of the head needs to be more, I don't know, something's throwing me off about that right there. Ah, there we go. I just needed to round the top a little bit more. There we go. That's what I needed. And let's draw in this eye again, because this one's throwing me off now. Ah, there we go. She needs to be looking down just a tad more. There we go. And then I definitely want her eyebrows to be upwards. She's looking kind of in wonder at this thing, rather than with deceit, as Mika probably would be. And the story behind this, I'm going to let you guys figure it out. I like to leave the Made of Metal stories up to you guys to figure out. Mostly because a lot of it isn't really set in stone. It's just kind of, they're just fun pieces that are meant to invoke your imagination. Okay, and let's make sure that we have plenty of Mocha's forehead showing. That's another thing that helps to contribute to her looking the way she does. And there you go. So now we have something that's looking a little bit closer to the face that we want, whereas what we had before. See, we started right here. It's okay, but you know, we needed a little bit more detail in there. So this is getting closer to where we want to get. But to avoid boring you, let's go ahead and move on over to Mika's face. And then we're going to call it good. We're going to call it good after that. Let's move on over to Mika's face, because I want Mika's face to be much more contrasting. So I probably will have her looking a little bit more angry at it. Maybe not like super angry, but almost maybe sort of like the way she's looking over there. So not all the way down. Like, notice how I'm not taking her eyebrow and I'm not putting it like against the eye like that, right? So it does look kind of funny. I do kind of like that. I don't know. Maybe I will do that. Maybe I will go to the extreme. But regardless, I think that for Mika's face, a lot of the body parts or a lot of the features are already in the right spot. So I think we're doing pretty good on Mika. Let's just go ahead and add a bit more detail to this. Something that I find that always puts additional intensity into your character's expressions is how much of the upper eye, how much of the upper part of the iris is showing. For example, do you notice how if I have Mika's eyes large and it looks like this, you see how it looks kind of like, oh, okay, she's just kind of like relaxed. But as soon as I show the top of the eye like this, and she's like now looking down, you see how that looks a lot more intense? There's a lot more intensity happening because your eyes are opening. And that also has to do with the 90% eyes theory, which I taught. So you guys should definitely go check that out. All right, but we were right about there. I really like where this is going. Let's put in her almond eyes. There we go. Mika's got like brighter eyes, so let's go ahead and get those in there like that. And let's see. That looks pretty good. I'll leave a little bit of shading in there because I like it on the lips. Like for the lips, Mika doesn't have a large lips though, so I notice how I do the differences between Mika's and Mocha's lips. I really like to make sure that the characters contrast. I love contrasting characters. Okay, let's go ahead and get in Mika's huge hair. She's got some big old hair. And then we are going to call it good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm feeling pretty happy about this. We'll get these lines in. I'll tone it really quick so that way it looks good. Put some tones on it. This one, she almost has like a bit of a smile. I don't want it to be a smile. I want it to be a frown. She is not happy about this bird at all. In fact, she could even be kind of like squinting a little bit more at it. We'll move this bottom eyelid up. Maybe put a little bit one of those in there. Maybe just a little bit more of an upper eyelid. That looks pretty good. So she's squinting at it a little bit more. Again, did you guys catch that? Look at how little of a change that was. We went from there to there. See that? Changed the entire expression. Cannot stress enough how important your eyes are in your pieces and that it's something that you guys should enjoy, right? Don't get too freaked out about it, right? It is, I like to say it this way. It is kind of a make or break thing for your piece, but in that case, it's like, think of it this way. It's like, well, once you get the eyes good, then everything else should just fall into place, right? And oftentimes it does. Oftentimes once you get the eyes looking good, I've found that a lot of the piece comes together. a lot of your expression anyway comes together. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, yeah, so let's go ahead and just tone this up a little bit, get it looking good for the thumbnail. And in the meantime, I guess I'll tell you guys a little story. Tell you guys a little bit about what's going on in my life now. Yeah, and this will be great. Yeah, I'll tell you guys about kind of some of the things that have been on my mind, as well as just, of course, every time I get into this, I always talk about how much I love you guys. But I do want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has been watching the show. Thank you to everyone who has been posting on the Instagram. Every time I get on here and I pull up the Instagram to show off what you guys have been working on, I'm always just so impressed by, and I can tell that you guys are really putting to use the stuff that I teach you in the tutorials. And that just makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so good that I can help you guys improve at your art. And furthermore, I hope that me doing this, I hope that you guys notice that drawing real time for you guys is a little bit uncomfortable. It is a little bit challenging sometimes. It is hard to show that I don't get things right the first time, or that I even make terrible mistakes, or that stuff that I draw can look really dumb, or even, heaven forbid, that I'm not the most amazing artist in the world, even though I'd like to believe so. Even though you guys really do make me feel like the best artist in the world sometimes. And but the truth is that there's still a lot left to learn. And I'm super happy that I get to be here with you guys on that journey. And I'm happy that we can learn together. And you guys teach me just as much as I teach you. I love seeing how you guys, I love being able to see your artwork. And those of you who join me on Patreon for the email critiques, I love watching you guys improve and just trying to imagine myself in those stages, like in the stuff that I'm teaching you, whether it's on a tutorial or on an email critique, being able to see it again or being able to teach it to somebody, it really helps me out as well. It really helps me to learn. A lot of people say, it's like the teacher is the one that learns the most, and I cannot agree more. The teacher truly does learn the most. So with that said, I would highly recommend that you guys become teachers yourself. If you ever feel like you're having trouble getting something across, try to create a lesson on it. Try to create a lesson on it. I think you'll find it to be quite fun. Quite rewarding, quite challenging. Cool. Mocha, you're looking great, but your eye's a little bit lazy. Let's fix that. Aha! There we go. I want her lips to be big. Big old lips. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that looks awesome. Alrighty, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to end it. Put these stripes on Mika's clothes real quick. She has some here, some there. I'll figure out all those details at a later date. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will bid thee farewell. Thank you guys so much for joining me on YouTube, and thank you for joining me as we kind of put this together live. Truly means a lot. I do have a couple things that I want to say before I go, and that is, oh yeah, of course, if you want to download this PSD as well as all the other PSDs, I highly recommend you guys get in there and go ahead and take a look at all these different sketches that we went through today. Yeah, like I said, get on Pinterest. Don't be afraid of getting in there and taking a look at poses that you like and build off of those. Really ask yourself, like, what are the building blocks? What is the foundation that is creating this image? What makes it look good? And that has to do with, don't forget your gesture. Always start with that gesture line. Ask, where does this flow? Where does the flow of this body lead me? And then get in there and start building out the building blocks. Use the bandage technique. Wrap some bandages around your characters to create those ellipses. And then, sure enough, you'll be able to create your very own pose, and you'll be having a good time with that. All right, so yeah, so that is gonna be it, ladies and gentlemen. The last thing that I do want to say is that I have been, speaking of collaborations, I have been collaborating with my girlfriend on creating these pins, and she is it on Kickstarter? Yeah, it is on Kickstarter. So, I mean, I say collaboration, but I contributed like one idea to this, and they're pizza cult pins. They're the cult of pizza. And this pizza box right here, this pizza Ouija board, that was my idea. Or at least the image on it was my idea. So I can say that I kind of collaborated with it. But we're about to hit our goal here. We're at 1705 out of 1750. So if you would like to pledge on there, take us over the top and get some cool pins. We would love to mail these over to you guys. Of course, it's just kind of shameless plugging, but I appreciate that you guys even take a look. And if that sounds interesting, then go on over there and pledge and get some pins. And lastly, let's go ahead and end it with some lovely lane. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. So take care. Put all the stuff that you guys learned into production today. Put it into your pieces. I hope to see it on this lovely lane that's coming up. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye. Always my favorite part of the episode is looking at all these. These are so cool. Wow. Oh, I like that little bush monster. That's really cute. Widowmaker? Heck yeah. Way cool. I like these styles. Such a great diversity. Oh, that Jubilee. Very cool. Yeah, I love seeing your styles come together, guys. It's great work. Keep it up. Wow, look at all these. Wow, Disney characters. It's really cool. It's a cool style. Oh, that girl in the pool. Wow, that's cool. I remember back when I still have trouble drawing backgrounds like that. So that's really cool that you would take that on. Dig it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with some lovely lips. Great lips. See you guys soon. Take care. Take care.